I've watched downsizing happen in two ways. The wrong way, my mom broke both of her ankles. We took over 100 bags out to the dumpster and to Goodwill all within a few days, downsizing from a three-bedroom to a one-bedroom, all because there wasn't time for anything else. Then you have the right way, the methodical way, 12 to 18 months of preparation where you maintain control and dignity throughout the entire process. And if you watched my letter to baby boomers or my mom's letter to adult children, and then also to her generation, you know the emotional reality of downsizing. This video, it's going to give you the strategic roadmap, the exact 12-step process I use with families to navigate downsizing without the crisis. We're going to break this into three phases, just like I always do. Phase one is life, identifying your transition and reducing the hurdles that are within that. And then phase two is wealth. And that's optimizing your financial outcomes before you ever even touch real estate. And then phase three, that's the real estate, and that's executing the move only after the first two phases are handled. So let's start with phase one, point one. Figure out which of the 12 Ds of life transitions is driving your decision. And here's what I mean. I work with a framework called the 12 Ds, and it's diamonds if you're getting married, diapers if you're having a baby, you get it, diplomas, direction, deployments, divorce, difficulties, death, downsizing, displacement, and then diversification and dreams. So if you're downsizing because of dreams, you want to travel and the house is just too much to manage, well, that's a planned downsizing and you've got flexibility. Or if you've unfortunately experienced a death, you lost your spouse or significant other, and the house is just too big and it's too painful, well, that's a grief-driven downsizing, and you need to move slower emotionally, even if you're having to move faster practically. Or maybe it's difficulties, health issues, making it up the stairs. That becomes impossible. Or Medicare costs, they're eating into your budget and the house just needs repair and you can't afford it. That's a forced downsizing with financial constraints. In the roadmap that I'm going to give you, and we're going to talk through, it works for all three, but the pacing changes dramatically depending on which D that you're navigating. If it's dreams, take the 18 months that you need and do it methodically. And if it's death or difficulties, you might only have 6 to 9 months, but you still need these 12 steps just compressed. So before you do anything else though, pause this video, identify your D, write it down. That clarity is going to drive every decision that follows. Point two, have the family conversation 12 to 18 months before you need to move. I cannot overstate this. If you wait until you're packing boxes, you're going to be navigating family conflict while trying to execute a complex move. That's how mistakes happen. Here's what the conversation looks like if it's helpful, okay? You gather your adult children, whether it's in person, on Zoom, or a family group text, I don't care, and you say something like this. We're starting to think about downsizing in the next 12 to 18 months. We haven't made any final decisions yet, but we wanted you to know early so that you can help us think through this and we can all be aligned. And I want you to notice that framing. Starting to think, not we've decided. That gives everyone permission to contribute without feeling like the decision's already been made. Then you ask three questions. One, what items in this house have sentimental value to you? Two, are there any family heirlooms you'd like to claim now rather than later? And then three, what concerns do you have about us downsizing? And that third question is critical when you pose it to your kids. You're giving your kid permission to voice their fears, that you're moving too fast, or that you're making decisions under grief, that they're worried about your finances, whatever the thoughts might be going through their head. It's better to hear those concerns now when you have time to address them than to discover them mid-move when the emotions are running high. Point three, build your timeline backward for your ideal move date. Most people, they just go out and plan forward. We want to downsize, so let's start looking at apartments. Well, that's actually backwards thinking. Instead, pick your ideal move date out in the future. And let's just say if you have the flexibility, you pick 18 months from now, then work backwards from that. It takes a few months you want to move in. That's a month before that time. And then the final packing and putting your house on the market, that's a couple months before that. The decluttering that happens there before that. Then you have the estate planning, the documents finalized, the CPA, you have your tax strategy. That's a few months before that. the professional team assembled, getting the locations for your housing options squared away. It's a month or two before that. Before you know it, and after you've done basically a complexity audit, seeing what needs to be done, you're in that 12 to 18-month time frame. And if you're working compressed 6 to 9 months because of health or finances, you're still hitting the same milestones, remember, just faster. And the key principle here, though, it's to start with the end and work backwards. This is phase 1, identifying your life goal based on where you're at. And once you've identified your transition type, as we already talked about, and you've had that family conversation, you've mapped out your timeline, now we start talking about phase 2, and that's the wealth side. Now, quick sidebar, if you're navigating this kind of downsizing transition right now and you're feeling overwhelmed just by what I've said, take the steps, look in the caption below, book a free 30-minute transition strategy call. We're going to identify which phase that you're in together. We're going to map out your specific timeline and then figure out what needs to happen first. It's no pressure, just strategic clarity. Links in the description below again. So back to the roadmap. Now, when we start talking about wealth, let's go into point 4. Let's assemble your professional team in this exact order first, okay? CPA, attorney, CFP, realtor. This is where most people get it backwards. They call a realtor first because they think downsizing is a real estate decision. It's not. It's actually a wealth optimization decision that ends with real estate execution. And here's where the CPA comes in and why I suggest it being first. Here's why I say the CPA comes first. Let's say you bought a house 40 years ago for $60,000. It's now worth $500,000. You've got $440,000 in capital gains. The IRS, of course, they give you a capital gains exclusion of $250,000 for individual filers and then $500,000 for married couples. But that exclusion, it has rules. You have to have lived in the house 2 of the last 5 years. And if you rent it out before selling, you can lose the exclusion. Your CPA, they know this and they can tell you about the nuances there to prepare correctly. So whether you're trying to sell now or wait 6 months or structure the sale differently to minimize your taxes, your realtor's not going to be the expert there. The CPA and then CPA is going to be. Your attorney comes second because estate planning impacts how you title the proceeds. If you sell the house for $500,000 and then pass away, where does that money go? Is it in the trust? Does it get divided equally among your kids? Does it trigger probate? These are legal questions, not real estate questions. The realtor comes last. Now, after you've optimized for wealth and structured your estate, you've talked to your certified financial planner, because by then we know exactly what you need to buy, when you need to buy it by, and how the proceeds should be handled. So the CPA, attorney, CFP, realtor, in that order. Point 5, update your estate planning documents before you list the house. And here's the $30,000 mistake that I see people make. Someone sells their house for $500,000, the proceeds go into their checking account, and then somebody passes away unexpectedly. And that was before they bought that next home. Now that $500,000 is sitting in probate because the house was titled jointly, but the bank account wasn't structured properly. The kids, you end up waiting 6 to 12 months for probate to clear. And of course, they pay the attorney fees. They lose the investment returns during that waiting period. And that total cost? Easily $30,000. That is lost wealth, lost opportunity. And if instead you'd updated your trust, retitled the bank account, and coordinated with your attorney before listing the house, that $500,000 would pass directly to your beneficiaries. No probate, no delays, no fees. This is why I say estate planning before real estate. Always. Sit down with your attorney 9 to 12 months before you plan to list. Review your trust, your will, your power of attorney, your beneficiary designations. Make sure everything's current. Then, and only then, do you list the house. Point 6. So coordinate your CPA and with your attorney on tax strategy before your sale. Your CFP might even have a role in this. This is where the wealth optimization happens. Your CPA and the attorney, they need to talk to each other, and most families never make this happen. Here's an example. Let's say you're selling a house for 500,000 with 400,000 in gains. After the capital gains exclusion, you owe zero federal taxes, but now you're buying a smaller place for 300,000. You've now got 200,000 in cash left over. Where does that money go? If you put it in a savings account earning interest, you're now paying income tax on that interest. If you put it in the market, you're paying capital gains tax on any growth. But if your attorney structures it into an irrevocable trust for your grandkids' education, it grows tax-free. Your estate avoids probate later. Or maybe a CPA says, don't buy the new place outright. Take out a small mortgage, invest the 200,000, and use the mortgage interest deduction to offset your investment gains. This is called strategy. So these strategies, though, they only work if your CPA and attorney, your certified financial planner are kind of on the same page, just to understand what the goals are. So this is an easy conversation to set up. You pull them together and you say, I need to talk to y'all about my downsizing tax strategy. That meeting, that is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now, point 7, run the real cost comparison, not just monthly payment comparison between your current home and what you downsize to, because the total cost of ownership, that plays a factor. And here's what I mean. Most people compare their current house payment to the new apartment rent, and they think they're saving money, but that's not the full picture. Your current house, let's just say it's paid off, no mortgage, but you're paying $6,000 a year in property taxes, $3,000 in insurance, and then $2,000 in homeowner association fees and $5,000 in maintenance. So the total cost in that scenario is $16,000 or $1,300 a month for that home. Now the new apartment, though, $1,200 a month in rent. Looks cheaper on paper, right? But wait. You've actually got $500,000 in sale proceeds. If you invest that at a conservative 5% return, you're earning $25,000 a year in growth. That's $2,000 a month. So your net cost for the apartment isn't $1,200 a month. It's actually negative $800 because you're making more on the invested proceeds than what you're spending on rent. This is the analysis that your CPA should help you run. Don't just look at the monthly payment. Look at total cost of ownership and opportunity cost of invested proceeds. Now that's phase 2, wealth. You've assembled your team, you've optimized your taxes, you've structured your real estate, and you've run the financial analysis. Phase 3, and that's when we start to focus on the real estate. Let's start with point 8. Choose your new location based on complexity reduction, not financial equivalence. This is a mindset shift. Most people try to find the place that gives them the same square footage, the same amenities, the same neighborhood feel as their current house. But I'd propose that that's the wrong goal. The goal of downsizing is to reduce complexity. You're trading that square footage for simplicity. You're trading that current home for a maintenance-free life. You are trying to make your life simpler. So when you're evaluating locations, ask these questions. Does this reduce my daily complexity? Am I closer to medical care? Am I closer to family? Do I have community here? People I can see regularly without planning a trip? I worked with a widow last year who sold her 4-bedroom house in the suburbs and then moved to a 2-bedroom condo downtown. Everyone told her that she was losing value because the condo cost more per square foot. Doctors and friends. She wasn't maintaining a yard or worrying about repairs. Her quality of life improved dramatically. That's complexity reduction. That's the right metric to look at. Now, point 9. Decide between an apartment, condo, or senior living based on your mobility timeline. If you're healthy and independent and expect to be for the next 10 to 15 years, a condo or apartment certainly makes sense. You own or rent, you maintain independence. You manage your own life. But if your health is declining or you're anticipating needing help within 5 years, senior living, whether independent living, assisted living, or continuing care, might be the better move. And here's why I think that. Moving twice is brutal. If you move into an apartment now and then need assisted living in 3 years, You're packing boxes again. You're coordinating movers again. You're sorting belongings again. Better to move once into a continuing care community that offers independent living now and assisted living later when you need it. So talk to your doctor. Be honest about your mobility, your chronic conditions, your likely 5-year trajectory. Then match your housing type to your health timeline. Point 10, and that's to conduct a complexity audit, room by room. And what is a complexity audit? Really, it's just how do we downsize and find a place for the stuff that we've accumulated over decades. And the way we suggest doing that is to mark everything as keep, donate, sell it, or trash it. And this is the hardest part emotionally, and it's where having a 12 to 18-month timeline saves you. Start with the rooms that you barely use. The guest room is a great example. The basement, the garage. Walk through, label everything with those 4 categories. Keep, donate, sell, trash. Keep items that you use regularly, okay? Or if you have deep sentimental value with them. Nothing wrong with that at all. Then donate items that are in good condition that someone else could actually use. And then sell the items with actual resale value, antiques, furniture, collectibles, and trash everything else. Be ruthless. If you haven't touched it in 5 years, it's not coming with you. I worked with a couple who had found 40 boxes of Christmas decorations in their attic. They kept 2 boxes, the ornaments with family history, and then the rest they donated. The goal isn't to get rid of everything. The goal is to move only what actively serves your next season of life. Start early. If you wait until 2 weeks before you move, you're going to be emotional. You're going to make emotional decisions under time pressure. And that's how you end up with a storage unit full of stuff that you'll never use. All right, point 11, give yourself time to declutter or accept the fact that you're going to lose things that matter. And I learned this by watching my mom try to downsize in 1 week after her broken ankles, okay? We threw 100 bags into a dumpster because there wasn't time to sort, donate, or sell. We had to move out. Items with the sentimental value, some of them were just gone. The family heirlooms my sister might have wanted, we didn't have time to ask. We had to move out. And that's the cost of crisis downsizing. We just didn't know. So if instead you have that 12 months, you can sort methodically. You can ask each kid which items they want. You can donate to charities. You can sell valuable pieces and pocket the cash. The difference between 1 week and 1 year, it's actually tens of thousands of dollars in lost value and then irreplaceable sentimental items. And this is why I keep saying start early, start today. The timeline isn't just about reducing stress. It's about preserving wealth and preserving. All right, point 12, last one. Coordinate your timing of your sale and purchase to avoid double moves. Ideally, you want to close on your new place the same week you close on your old house. And then that way, you move once from the old house directly into the new place. But that requires coordination, and here's how we do it. 6 months out, we start scouting a new location that you potentially want to move to. And then we narrow it to 3 options. We don't make any offers yet. We're just identifying where you want to be. Then 3 months out, we list your current house. While it's under contract, we make an offer on the new place with a closing date that matches your current house sale. This avoids 2 painful scenarios. 1, selling your house and having nowhere to go, so you're stuck in the temporary housing for months or who knows how long. And then 2, buying the new place first and carrying 2 mortgages while your old house sits on the market. Nobody wants that. Coordinate the closings. Move once. That's the execution. Look, I know that that's a lot of steps. 12 phases, 3 major categories. Coordination across CPA, attorney, CFP, realtor, family members. If you're thinking, Weldon, this feels overwhelming. Well, you're right. It is overwhelming. That's exactly why downsizing goes wrong when people try to rush it or do it alone. Here's what I do. I'm a transition strategist first, real estate professional second. I'm a project management professional and a certified financial coach, and I've walked dozens of families through transitions just like this. And when you book a transition strategy call me, here's what happens. First, we identify which of the 12 Ds that you're navigating and then which phase you're in right now. Second, we coordinate with your CPA and attorney and optimize for the wealth outcomes before you ever touch real estate. I've seen this enough that I would give you which questions to ask so that way you keep as much money in your pocket as possible. And then third, we map out the real estate execution, whether that's here in Colorado Springs with me directly or anywhere else in the country through my nationwide referral network. The call is free. It's 30 minutes. And at the end, you're going to have clarity on your next 3 steps, whether the real estate makes sense right now or not. Go to askweldonhobbs.com to book time with me. I'm glad to have the conversation. I love it. You can also check out more resources at teamhobbsrealty.com. I'm Weldon Hobbs, a transition strategist, project management professional, certified financial coach, and real estate professional based here in Colorado Springs, but serving nationwide. My wife and I are both Air Force Academy graduates, and we've spent our careers walking others through decision processes just like this. Transitions are never easy, but they are easier when you have somebody walking alongside you. If you're an adult child trying to help your parents through this process, next week's video is specifically for you. How to have the downsizing conversation without starting a family war. Hit the subscribe button so that way you don't miss it. And if this was helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear it as well. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.